UFC 293 Adesanya versus Strickland, the full card prediction. And ladies and gentlemen, this might not be the most stacked card in terms of your casual audience of MMA, but if you are a hardcore, there's not really any horrible fights. Most of the fighters on this card either go out there with so many finish wins in their UFC career, or they go to a decision and they make it really fun, like John Makdessi, like Nasrat Haqparast, maybe like a Blood Diamond as well, and even the newer guys to the UFC, Charlie Radke, Landon Quinones, Kape Crosby, Kevin Doucet, all of these guys, they all make for very fun fights. I don't really believe that there's too many bad fights on the card. I'm looking at the card right now. I can't be like, this fight is for sure going to be a bad fight. There's not really any of those on the card, in my opinion. Now, we did get the Viviane Araújo, Casey O'Neill fight canceled. Yeah, that probably wouldn't have been that good, but O'Neill's probably going to return in December. And yeah, the most disappointing of them all, Kara France pulling out due to a concussion in the Manel Kape fight. Now we got undefeated 22-year-old Felipe dos Santos. So don't be coming into this UFC pay-per-view and just like really with a really pessimistic attitude, because even if you might not know who Felipe dos Santos is, even if you do not know who Kevin Doucet is, these are fun fights. These are very fun fights. So we're going to do our full card prediction. Make sure to smash that like button. I guess, maybe you want to, maybe you don't. Put the comments down below. I'd love to see who you are predicting to win on this UFC pay-per-view, because I know I'm going to get a lot of predictions different to a lot of what you guys are thinking, because I do have a decent amount of underdog picks. This actually, when I was looking at it at first a few months ago, I wasn't like, I'm going to pick a lot of underdogs in this card, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to be picking a lot of underdogs here, so we're going to see. Let's get into the first fight of the night. Maybe they'll change it. I mean, UFC is notorious for just randomly changing up the bout order. But for right now, we got 12 fights. First one on the list, Kevin Doucet and Crosby in the welterweight division. That wasn't really an Irish accent. I'm from America. I'm sorry about that. But odds are pretty even on this one. Kevin Doucet is a slight favorite even now, only at -140. Both guys making their UFC debut, with Crosby losing 2 in a row in Bellator, both by finish to a guy with 11 losses in Charlie Leary, and Georgi Karakanyan also with 11 losses. He came back with a TKO on a guy with a 30% win rate. And then he beat Alex Oliveira. Now, that's a good win. That's a good win. The one before that, a little suspicious there. But then he beat former UFC fighter Alex Oliveira, which is like the only reason he is in the UFC right now. If he didn't beat Alex Oliveira, there's no chance the man is in the UFC. But he went out there and beat Alex Oliveira faster than guys like Shavkat Rakhmonov did, faster than guys like Kevin Holland were able to do, and so many other guys as well. And Mike Perry went to a decision with him. Gunnar Nelson, it took him 2 rounds. It was a good win, but like, is he really UFC caliber? I wouldn't say so. One win over Alex Oliveira, just kind of bum rushing him a little bit, throwing some wild shots and knocking him out. Cool. But let's run that back 10 times, see how many you win. Probably not a whole lot. Now he's going to be taking on Kevin Doucet. Very interesting style here. He's got good wrestling and grappling. In my opinion, a few ground pound TKO wins on his record, including his last one a few months ago in the Hex Fight Series main event, taking on Kit Campbell and got that 3rd round TKO. It was a nice win over the Australian there. And dude, this guy does have some skills, in my opinion. He fought Jack Della Maddalena, looked pretty okay in round number 1 as well, and has looked pretty decent in the meantime. He's not really a finisher. He doesn't go out there just bum rushing his opponents to get that round 1 knockout. He's not going out there to get the finish. He's going out there to get the win. And fighting a guy like Kape Crosby, Kape does go out there with that kind of kill or be killed mindset. He has 3 decision wins, but if you look at the losses, he got a disqualification, a submission, and a TKO. The guy doesn't like to go all the way, and I think this one's gonna go all the way. I know he doesn't have any decision losses, but I think this is going to be the one, because Kiefer Crosby is going to go out there round number 1. I think have a lot of success on Kevin Doucet early on in the fight, being that Kiefer is going to be more powerful, the harder hitting guy, the more explosive guy. But the longer the fight goes, when Kevin's able to intercept that power of Kiefer Crosby with counters, with jabs, with leg kicks, with body kicks, and maybe even some wrestling and grappling with Kiefer is kind of lacking in that department, in my opinion. I do believe Kevin will at least win round 2 and round 3, possibly win round 1 on some of the judges' scorecards. If Kiefer gets just that reckless, where he walks into some counters to Kevin, it's possible. But I do believe round 1 is going to be Kiefer Crosby's round. So round 1 Kiefer or Kiefer. I know you guys are going to correct me in the comments. I don't know. I'm American. I'm sorry. But I do have Kevin Doucet winning round 2 and winning round 3 to get that decision win. And that's an unpopular opinion, as the odds to go to a decision are plus 138 on the over 2.5 rounds. And my prediction, Doucet decision, almost 4-1 at plus 350. So I want to see what y'all think. Who do you guys have? Kevin Doucet or Kiefer Crosby? Shane Young and Gabriel Miranda in the featherweight division. Now, this is going to be one where the loser's for sure getting cut. There's no way if Shane Young goes out there and loses that he is not getting cut. I believe didn't he get like 1 or 2 wins in the UFC? I think it was 1. 2 wins. Rolando D, a guy with 9 wins and 6 losses. That was 5 years ago. And then he was able to beat Austin Arnett. Then he got knocked out by Ludwig Klein. Legit guy. Very solid guy there. Lost a unanimous decision to Omar Morales. You know, decent guy. Then he lost to Blake Bilder, he's a decent up-and-comer, but he's a little bit older in this featherweight division. But that's 3 losses in a row. The Blake Bilder one wasn't really the most exciting one. The Omar Morales one was exciting at times. And the Ludwig Klein one, he just got starched with that head kick KO. And he needs to do something big here in this Gabriel Miranda fight, or he's gone. Shane Young is going to be gone, because what else do they need him for besides Australian cars? And what he needs to do out here is get a finish. He needs to go out there and knock out Gabriel Miranda. But Gabriel has only been knocked out once, and it was in the last fight. Twice, my bad. It was once in the last fight with Benoit Saint-Denis that he took on short notice against, we've already seen what this man has been able to do and accomplish since that Gabriel Miranda fight. Starch Ismael Bonfim in round number 1. Then absolutely dominated Thiago Moises in round number 2. The dude is an absolute beast, all finishes, and Gabriel was able to survive to round number 2 and able to survive some really, really tough situations in that fight. Kind of leading me to believe it's going to be very, very hard for Shane Young to go out there and just starch him early on in this round 1 or round number 2. Yes, Wagner Rocha was able to, a very old guy, and a grappler, which is, that's just kind of sad. But since then, he's shown his toughness, he's shown his ability to, when he does get hurt, just immediately turn on that wrestling and grappling instinct and get the fight to the mat and mix in the ground game. So I'm going to be honest, I don't believe that Shane Young is going to go out there and get a finish, where, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to look at these odds right now. A lot of them are probably thinking Young inside the distance. Shane Young inside the distance is going to be at plus 225. For those odds right there. Not a lot of people thinking the fight is going to go to a decision. I think if Shane is going to win, it is going to be a decision. But it comes down to, can he defend the takedowns of Gabriel Miranda? And Gabriel's a good jiu-jitsu guy. He's not necessarily a super, super good wrestler. So yes, I actually do believe that Shane Young will be able to defend these takedowns and use his striking to land the harder shots, land more shots, and counter Gabriel Miranda as he comes in. Yes, he probably does hurt Gabriel Miranda, maybe round 1, maybe round 2, but I think Gabriel's shown his toughness, shown how far he can push it after he does eventually get hurt in his fights. And Shane Young, he does need a finish to really solidify his spot inside of the UFC. That would be very, very impressive for him to go out there and knock out Gabriel Miranda. I'm just not seeing it. I do expect this one to be a fun one. I think Gabriel's going to make it very, very exciting, because even if he does go out there and just keeps on getting rocked by Shane Young, well, that's going to be an exciting fight. Even if he does go out there and get the takedowns on Shane Young, he's going to make it an exciting wrestling and grappling match. He's not going to just hold on the ground, land some hammer fists and hold, and land some hammer fists and holds. I think this will be exciting. Either way the wind blows, I think the win here is going to blow to Auckland, New Zealand zone Shane Young, who I have winning a 29-28 decision. I think one of those rounds, Gabriel probably keeps the striking even, maybe mixes in a takedown or two. So it should be a close one. Shane Young and Gabriel Miranda, very close fights. Blood Diamond or Mike Mathetha taking on Charlie Radke in the welterweight division. Charlie Radke. I'm very perplexed by the betting odds here. That's the first thing I'm going to put out here. Charlie Radke is at minus 250 on the betting odds over Blood Diamond right now. Now, I'm going off of pure memory. You guys can correct me down in the comments below. I won't be mad at you. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. But I remember Jeremiah Wells being like minus 200. And I hammered that line because I was very confident on Jeremiah Wells' ability to get the takedown and submit him on the ground, which he did. And I made some money that night. I believe he was like minus 200. Why the heck is Charlie Radke minus 250 and Jeremiah Wells was like minus 200? Even Orion Kosi, I believe, was in the minus 100s. Probably the upper level, maybe minus 200. But I don't believe he was even as big of a favorite as Charlie Radke is. Now, why is that? Blood Diamond made the Orion Kosi fight really, really close. Obviously, the Jeremiah Wells one, that's just a horrible, horrible matchup on a guy that's kind of right outside of the top 15 in the welterweight division for his UFC debut. I don't know what the UFC was really thinking there. Orion Kosi was a really close fight. It wasn't an absolute domination. Blood Diamond had his moments, hurt him on the feet a few times, and defended a good amount of those takedowns. I don't really see what the betting odds are coming at here. Having Charlie Radke as this big of a favor. He is 33 years old. He is a finisher, 3 knockout wins, 2 submission wins, coming off a round 1 submission win in the main event for the CFFC welterweight belt on Raheem Forrest. That was a really good win. Very impressive win by him in that fight against Raheem Forrest, who was a very, very solid guy. He was able to knock out Caleb Crump in round 1. Split decision on Jonathan Piersma. I did watch that one. That was a very, very close one. But if we're talking when he starts to get that UFC level guys, Chris Gonzalez, Bellator, Justin Montalvo, Bellator, Austin Hubbard, now back inside of the UFC as he was in the Ultimate Fighter finale. All of these guys are either mixing the takedowns a few times, like Chris Gonzalez and Austin Hubbard a little bit, or they're countering him when he comes to the inside, and that's what I do believe is going to happen here. That is what I do believe is going to happen here. Charlie Radke is going to go out there, UFC debut in Australia. Everyone's booing at him because he's American and their guy, Blood Diamond, trains with Adesanya. The crowd is going to be firmly in support of Blood Diamond here. Probably going to rile up Charlie Radke to be like, dude, I got to knock this dude out and silence the doubters, silence the crowd and everything. I think he's going to get countered. I'm going to be honest. I think Blood Diamond is going to counter him coming in. I don't think he's going to go out there and knock him out, though. But I think he's going to counter him good. I think round 1, Charlie's going to go out there, try to knock him out himself. Be like, I can knock out a training partner of Adesanya. What is that going to say about me? I think that'd be a really, really impressive thing to do. And I think that's what he's going to try to go out there and do in round number 1. But I think Mike Mathetha, Blood Diamond, is going to counter him on the feet, use his height, use his reach, stand the outside, and just hit him when he comes in. Round 2, Charlie's going to be like, well, dude, this dude got destroyed by Jeremiah Wells in the wrestling and in the grappling and things like that. I got to take him down now. Blood Diamond is not that bad on the ground. He defended a good amount of takedowns on Orion Kosi, and you cannot at all tell me that Charlie Radke is on the same level of wrestling or jiu-jitsu or grappling as a Jeremiah Wells. You simply cannot do so. So I do believe round number 1, round number 2, I got Blood Diamond keeping it on the feet, outstriking Charlie Radke. Round number 3, maybe Charlie has a little bit of a comeback, gets the takedown when Blood Diamond's a little bit tired, and maybe wins that round. But I got this one being a close, competitive 29-28 decision win for Mike Makdessi, or Blood Diamond, who is now at plus 250. What in the world? What in the world? I thought it was decently fair when Charlie was like minus 180, minus 190 range. I thought that was sort of fair. Seemed like where I thought the odds would be when I first saw the fight, but I would still pick Blood Diamond at that point. That I see people still hammering the Charlie Radke line. I could be totally off base and Charlie can go out there, take him down, smash him. He can go out there, catch the chin, knock him out. Sure. These odds are ridiculous. That's all I'm going to say. Mike Makdessi, 29-28, split decision in a very, very close back-and-forth fight in the welterweight division. Nasrat Haqparast and Landon Quinones in the lightweight division. Why is this fight at UFC 293? I don't know. I mean, Nasrat Haqparast, he's a good filler fight just midway through. They don't have enough Australians, sure. Put a Nasrat Haqparast against anybody. It's probably going to be a decent fight. Good decision, back and forth. They have their moment, But my question, Landon Quinones, if you're watching this video, I'm sorry. No disrespect. You're not UFC caliber at this moment in time. You're just simply not. You're coming off, I know the record looks really, really pretty on Tapology here. 27 years old, same reach, similar height as Nasrat Haqparast. Only one loss to UFC fighter Muhammadjan Naimov by split decision, who just went out there and knocked out, where can I find him? Jamie Malarkey in round number 2. Very, very impressive. I mean, that's your only loss? That's solid. For that to be your only loss on your actual record. But then we look a little bit closer at that. You got a few wins after that. First round knockout, unanimous decision. Third round knockout, second round knockout. You win the Titan FC lightweight belt main event in Miami, Florida. Very, very impressive stuff. Then you get triangle choked by Jason Knight. Destroyed. Like, the striking really wasn't, like, too impressive. You didn't go out there and dominate him on the feet and then just get caught with a submission. Not much happened on the feet. You landed a takedown and you got submitted with ease. It was like that. Jason Knight is currently 22-7. Legit guy. Solid guy. But he lost to Bobby Moffett not that long ago. Bobby Moffett is really just not that good, man. Bobby Moffett won out there in unanimous decision, this guy. Jordan Rinaldi beat him. Makwan Amirkhani beat him by a split decision. Gabriel Benitez, he was on like a 5-fight losing streak. He got outstruck by the GOAT, Artem Lobov. And these are all like striking matches. He's known as a striker, right? And he beat Artem Lobov after that with the corner stoppage. He's known for all these striking wins and things like that. And then he submits you? Like, whoa. Should not be happening. You've never been finished, and then you just get destroyed by a way out of their prime bare knuckle fighter. Legit bare knuckle fighter, but not an MMA type of guy that I would expect to be winning too many MMA fights inside of the UFC. And now you're taking on Nasrat Haqparast. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Nasrat Haqparast and my man Jason Knight were in an MMA fight, Nasrat's picking him apart at range. He's outstriking him. He's mixing in the takedowns. And he's winning everywhere. Probably the same thing here for Landon Quinones. He's going to outstrike Landon Quinones on the feet because he's more technical. He's got more speed. He's got more UFC experience against a much, much better competition. I mean, only recently losing to who? Dan Hooker? Bobby Green? Are you kidding me? One of them is beating an interim champion. One of them just beat Jalen Turner by a split decision. That's really, really impressive. And those are the guys he is losing to. Now we're told that Landon Quinones is going to be on the same level of Bobby Green and Dan Hooker. No, I'm not going to be thinking any of that. He's going to outstrike Landon Quinones on the feet. If Landon's going to be getting emotional and a little butthurt that he's not winning in the striking match, he's going to overextend, get countered by Nasrat, and even taken down by Nasrat Haqparast. Nasrat is not that bad on the ground as well, and can easily mix in some takedowns on Landon Quinones. And I'm sorry, Landon Quinones, you're not UFC caliber. I think they should have got you to like 12, 13, 14 MMA fights outside of the UFC, especially after the Ultimate Fighter performance. Then maybe if you win some of those, maybe win some other regional belts, boom, get your shot back in the UFC. As of right now, you're not ready for the likes of Nasrat Haqparast. I respect it. I respect it. They gave you the call up. Nasrat Haqparast had a cancellation, was supposed to fight Jamie Malarkey, was then supposed to fight Sam Patterson a week before on the UFC Paris card. They said, Landon Quinones, you want to step in? I respect that. Huge respect for a guy that's only losses in the last like 5 years have come to guys like Drew Dober, Dan Hooker, and Bobby Green. I respect it. But man, he's getting a unanimous decision. He does that everyone. Unanimous decision. Did knock out Joaquim Silva, but that dude's chin is like that. So I do believe he's going to decision you. I don't think you're going to make the same mistake and walk into a submission or anything like that. I think you survive Nasrat Haqparast by unanimous decision. Jamie Malarkey and John Makdessi in the lightweight division. Huge age discrepancy, huge height, huge reach discrepancy. Both guys coming off losses. John losing to Nasrat, but my God, beating Ignacio Bahamondes before that was very, very impressive. And before that, beat Jesus Pinedo, who is absolutely clobbering people over there in the PFL and is about to win the $1 million. So, what? John Makdessi would win $1 million? It's according to MMA math. Over there in the PFL, that's just insane. Lost to Francisco Trinaldo, but beat Ignacio Bahamondes, which I would say is a very legit win. And that was a mainly striking match. But Ignacio was just not able to find the mark. I don't really think it was his day. And I think if Ignacio and John Makdessi were to rematch, I think Ignacio would fare a little bit better in that rematch. Just like I think Jamie Malarkey is going to fare pretty good here against John Makdessi. John is getting a little bit slower. His kicks are still pretty decent. His body shots, his leg kicks are still pretty okay. But that's not what you're going to do to beat a guy like Jamie Malarkey. For a guy like Jamie Malarkey, you want to catch that chin. And yes, he's beaten guys like Michael Johnson by decision, Francisco Prado by decision. That's probably what I believe he's going to do here against John Makdessi. But if you're going to beat a guy like Jamie Malarkey, you can't go to a decision with him, because he got that robbery decision win with the Michael Johnson one. You got to get him clean on the chin. Jalen Turner rocked him badly in round one. Just kept headhunting. And was able to knock him out. A featherweight was able to come in on short notice, get him backed up a little bit, and catch him with that right hook and knock him out. John Makdessi doesn't have that power. Is it just me, or do I not remember any time when John Makdessi has gotten a knockout win? Let's go back. His last knockout win was 2013, literally a decade ago. No, he's not going out there and knocking out Jamie Malarkey. This is a perfect setup matchup for the Australian and Jamie Malarkey here. It's a guy that doesn't have much KO power, but is mainly a volume guy, a point fighter with the kicks and the leg shots and the body shots and things like that. And Jamie is so much taller, so much lengthier. He's just going to headhunt here, mix in some body shots, mix in some leg shots, land a similar amount of volume to John Makdessi, but with most of them being headshots, I do believe Jamie Malarkey will win on those judges' scorecards, especially with those judges, well, let's just say, being Australian. I got Jamie Malarkey by a 29-28 decision. Jack Jenkins and Kape Mariscal in the featherweight division. I'm going to say right now, the only way there's a finish in this fight is if they go to an absolute war and then there's like a doctor stoppage or something. Yeah, I mean, it's possible, I guess. One of them just starts throwing really, really wildly and gets caught clean with a good shot. But I think this one is very, very likely to go to a decision with how much these guys just have that dog barking inside them. These guys are absolute animals in there. And I don't think either guy is going to go down easily, get knocked out really, really easily in this fight. I do believe that Kape Mariscal and Jack Jenkins could be fight of the night. Could be fight of the night. I'm looking at a lot of the fights before them. They're good fights, very, very solid fights. I think this one's a little bit better. Ulberg, Pedro, Tafa, Manelka. If that one goes to a decision, it could be. This one's probably going to be a finish, or probably not. And Adesanya Strickland's not going to be a back and forth war. I'm going to say it right now. Fight of the night, Jack Jenkins and Kape Mariscal in the featherweight division. Same height, similar reach, same age. And a guy that came off a unanimous decision on Trevor Peek on short notice, up a weight class against an undefeated fighter, and looked absolutely amazing. He looked really fast. He looked good. Coming into the inside, mixing it up, and not getting hit with really big shots as well. When he did come to the inside, he wasn't getting hit with that big of shots. And this one, a lot of people are saying the leg kicks of Jack Jenkins are going to be a huge thing. They are. His leg kicks were really damaging Don Shyness in that fight. He got the leg kick knockout win on Jason Petropoulos in round number 2 in that fight. Obviously, it's going to be in those later rounds. And even in the Jamal Emmers fight, was landing some really, really good leg kicks in there as well. With his only losses coming a very long time ago, 5-6 years ago, due to the wrestling and grappling. And I don't believe Kape is that good of a wrestler and grappler. I think this one stays on the feet. And I think Jack and Kape are going to go to freaking war. The boxing, I believe, is going to be pretty 50-50. I think Kape is going to come inside, mix it up, uppercut, left hook, right hook, just mix it up, pressuring the heck out of Jack Jenkins, and Jack Jenkins is going to counter back with his hooks, his uppercuts, his overhands, and I believe the boxing and the elbows and the clinching and all of that type of stuff is going to be very, very even, but the one thing that Jack Jenkins is better than Kape Mariscal is, it's the leg kicks, and that's where I do believe that Jack Jenkins is going to win it on the judges' scorecards. The judges are going to be like, wow, these guys are both rocking each other on the feet. They're both landing some really good shots, but man, Kape's walking a little funny there. We got to give Jack Jenkins that round. That's what I believe is going to happen. Jack Jenkins with a close war decision. Very good fight. Fight of the night. Carlos Ulberg and Zhang in the light heavyweight division, 32 and 29 years old, same height. A little bit of a reach advantage for Zhang, but Zhang, my man, coming off getting wrestled by Devin Clark for 3 straight rounds, got knocked out by Dustin Jacoby before that, looked good before that. I mean, man got Kennedy and Suchuku to the clinch and just started bombing elbows at him. He, 8 takedowns on William Knight, absolutely destroyed him. And then, what is this doing on your record? A split decision with Sam Alvey. Don't ask. I don't know what that's doing there. But Ulberg, I know MMA math will say, well, Zhang finished Kennedy and Suchuku, and Kennedy finished Carlos Ulberg. So, well, Zhang should finish Carlos Ulberg. No. Styles make fights, and Zhang really doesn't have the best style to beat a guy like Carlos Ulberg. The reason he was able to take down William Knight so many times in that fight, the man was gassed. The man was absolutely freaking gassed, and that was in those later rounds, round 2 and round number 3. Now, yes, could get it to round 2, could get it to round number 3, and Carlos Ulberg could be gassed, and we could be like, wow, Zhang just survived those early onslaughts, and mixed in the takedowns on Carlos Ulberg and destroyed him on the ground. For sure, there's a good possibility that could happen in this fight with Zhang beating Carlos Ulberg, but I don't think it goes to those later rounds. I think Carlos Ulberg is going to play this one smart. I think he's going to make it really, really slow-paced early on in round number 1, just in case it goes to round number 2, because he knows if it does and he goes out there with a crazy, ferocious pace in round 1 and is not able to get the finish, well, Carlos is kind of screwed. So I think Carlos is going to play it smart. I think the game plan is going to be to make round 1 very, very close. Just kind of jab him, leg kick him, move, jab, leg kick, 1, 2, move, move, leg kick, all of that type of stuff. Really frustrate Zhang for the entirety of round number 1. Maybe Zhang shoots a naked takedown at range. Ulberg probably counter it a little bit. And I think we do hit round 2, but that's as far as it'll go. As in round number 2, I think Ulberg's going to be like, well, I won round 1. I can win round 2. I have enough gas to kind of go for the finish here. And if I don't get the finish, I just got to survive round 3 and I'll win the decision anyway. But I think he's going to get the finish anyway. I think round 2, Zhang is going to get figured out a little bit by Carlos Ulberg. He's going to find that range with the jab. He's going to find that range with the leg kicks. And I think he's going to catch him with a 1, jab, jab, right. Boom! Right down the middle, right on the chin of Zhang. Don's going to get wobbled a little bit. He's going to get his back to the cage, and Ulberg's going to land body kick. Jab down the middle, right hand down the middle, hook, 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 uppercut, hook, hook, boom! One of them's going to drop him. Zhang, I do believe will get dropped in round number 2. Carlos Ulberg, round 2, TKO. Tyson Pedro, Anton Turkalj in the light heavyweight division. I'm going to go underdog Tyson Pedro to win this fight. He's at plus 103. Those are the best odds you're going to get him. He started at minus 147 and was there for a very, very long time. And I'm surprised he actually flipped. I thought he was going to stay as a slight favorite on the betting odds. But no, they flipped. He's 31 years old. He's more into his prime. A little bit more UFC experience. Knocking out Ike Villanueva. Knocking out Harry Hunsucker. And only losing to pretty legit guys. I know some of them were a little bit past their prime in terms of Ovi St. Preux and Mauricio Shogun Hua, but both of those fights, he kind of got gassed out a little bit, except for the Ovi St. Preux fight. Just one of those he got gassed out in. But the Ovi St. Preux fight, he just got taken down and submitted. Alir Latifi got taken down a lot. And even other than that, he was able to mix in some of his own jiu-jitsu and submit top 15 light heavyweight Khalil Rountree, knock out top 15 middleweight, and pretty much top 15 light heavyweight in Paul Craig in round number 1. When he is going out there and he's dangerous and he's feeling himself, he is a legit contender in this UFC light heavyweight division. I mean, beating Khalil Rountree and Paul Craig back to back in round number 1 is a very, very impressive thing to do, in my opinion. But sometimes he doesn't go out there with the same ferocity and speed and power and things like that, and he ends up getting countered at range. He ends up getting taken down. He ends up gassing out. He ends up getting submitted and things like that. So it comes down to what Tyson Pedro are we going to see go out there, because they're giving him a good matchup here. They're giving him a pretty decent matchup. A guy with some good wrestling, some good grappling skills, but some that I do believe are not like super top of the food chain, high level for this light heavyweight division. I still believe Tyson Pedro should be able to defend these takedowns here on Anton Turkalj, and they're giving a guy that doesn't have the best striking defense. He really does not. He's not going out there and outstriking guys for 3 straight rounds. He has to mix in those takedowns and wrestling because his striking defense really is not that good. And Tyson Pedro, if we get the good Tyson Pedro, that's fast, that's moving, that's looking for that finish, we should be able to see Tyson Pedro go out there and make some noise for the Sydney, Australia crowd and look good on the feet on Anton Turkalj. They're giving him a very good matchup here. I believe he should be able to defend these takedowns, and he should most definitely be this better striker than Anton Turkalj. I do believe Vitor Petrino, if Vitor really wanted to and was going out there with the knockout strategy in mind, he probably could have knocked out Anton Turkalj, in my opinion. But still, in that case, if Vitor's not able to, Tyson Pedro might not be able to as well, especially with a lot of these wrestlers and grapplers in the higher weight classes. If they do get hurt on their feet, they just clinch. They wrestle a little bit, and they survive. And I do believe this one is going to go to a decision. Not a popular one as well as minus 250 for it to be a finish. I don't think so. I got Tyson Pedro by a close 29-28 decision. Justin Tafa and Austin Lane in the heavyweight division. I'm sorry. I might go Austin Lane. This is one I'm flipping coins here. Because Austin Lane, before the eye poke, I know it was like, how long was it? Let's see. Let's see. I want to see for sure because I don't believe it was like 30 seconds. Literally 30 seconds in, that fight was stopped. That 30 seconds, we saw a good amount. We saw Austin Lane looking pretty okay in the striking on Justin Tafa. Tafa able to use his height, able to use his reach. He's got good wrestling and grappling to fall back on as well. And he was looking good for that first 30 seconds. That is literally just 30 seconds. I'm hearing a lot of people say that. They're like, well, Austin Lane was looking good for those first 30 seconds. He's probably going to look good for the rest of the fight. Able to use his height, use his reach to stay at range. Maybe win a decision. Maybe catch Justin Tafa as he's coming in. Or maybe mix in a takedown and win the fight on the ground. Okay, cool argument. It's heavyweight. It is heavyweight. Austin Lane is not a one-punch KO machine. Not at all. He beat Juan Adams. That was not at all a one-punch knockout by any means. That one was in round number 4. Super, super late on into that fight. Got the leg injury knockout win. The one where he got taken down, reversed it, got the ground about TKO. He's not getting one-hitter-quitter knockout wins in any of his fights. Greg Hardy on the Contender Series just straight up pressed forward and was able to knock him out. I do believe Justin Tafa should just go out there, pressure forward in this fight, eat some of the shots coming his way from a not super, super powerful Austin Lane. That's a very tall, lengthy, athletic guy, but not a very, very powerful one-shot hitter-quitter type of guy. And I think Justin's just going to keep coming forward until he catches him. It's heavyweight. I mean, if you don't have the power to knock out Justin in one punch, Justin's going to be like, oh, well, that's the best you have? You threw an overhand right and it didn't really hurt that much? I'm coming forward. I'm throwing with ferocity. I'm throwing with deadly intent here. And bada bing, bada boom, in front of the Australian crowd. We got the first heavyweight of the night getting his win with a strike, obviously. But I believe it's going to be an overhand right on Austin Lane. That's going to rock him. He's going to get his back to the cage. Hook, 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 hook. One of them will land. Justin Tafa, round 1, TKO. Manel Kape and Felipe dos Santos in the flyweight division. Felipe's a dog. Felipe is a dog. I would do the same thing. I'm going to tell you guys right now. I will do the same thing. The nickname I want to have when I do become a professional MMA fighter is accepts any fight. Robert accepts any fight. Alas. I think that'd be a very, very good nickname because I think, or Robert Short Notice Tellez would make for a very, very fun nickname, in my opinion, because if these opportunities come my way, there's no chance in heck, unless I have some crazy, crazy injury, there's no chance in heck I'm not accepting it. They could give me Brando Moreno on 3 days' notice, and if I can cut the weight, I could reasonably cut that weight in that amount of time. I'm doing it. I'm taking on Brandon Moreno, main event of a UFC pay-per-view, and I'm doing it for the Mexican crowd. I'm gonna make it a war for as long as it lasts. Probably lose that fight, like Felipe dos Santos is, but I'm taking that fight because there's no respect lost from this fight. Felipe dos Santos could go out there and get starched 5 seconds into round number 1 by Manel Kape, and I'll be like, respect. Manel Kape, good win. Another win for the highlight reel. Felipe dos Santos, your stock was here. Now it's here. Why? You just got starched. Why would your stock go up? Because you are a freaking dog that accepted a short notice fight with the number 7 flyweight in the world on Tapology. Come on. You're a dog. Exact mindset you want to have going in is you got nothing to lose. You're 7-0. You're 22 years old. You win this fight. You're a fight away from a title fight. I kid you not. I kid you not. UFC rankings. Let's go to it. You might be thinking I'm joking. A UFC debut for a 22-year-old. You might think I'm joking. But if this dude goes out there and beats Manel Kape, decision, knockout, submission, whatever the case may be, who do you think they're going to give him after that? Manel Kape was in the running to fight guys like Brandon Royval. He was about to fight guys like Haqparast France. He was about to fight guys like Mateusz Nicola, Alex Perez, all of these guys. If he wins this fight, he could be one fight away in that he could fight Haqparast next in the co-main event of a UFC fight night on the main card of another random pay-per-view. Royval gets his shot, Amir Albazi gets his shot, you beat Haqparast. You earned yourself a title shot, kid. 22 years old, and you could be legitimately 2 fights away from a title fight, Felipe dos Santos. That is why you accept these fights. You might lose. You might get starched by Manel Kape here, but it's MMA. It's 4-ounce or 6-ounce gloves. I'm forgetting the size of the gloves. They're very small gloves. Manel Kape has been KO'd before. You could KO him. You could do it. And you can earn yourself a title fight. Now, will he, prediction-wise? No. I mean, no. Come on. Manel Kape is a much better striker. He's very patient in round number 1. Felipe might have some success early on in round number 1, but once Manel finds that range, finds the timing, and really starts to mix up his strikes, I think he's probably going to knock out Felipe dos Santos. I don't really give a blank for Felipe dos Santos. I mean, if he loses a close decision to Manel Kape in this fight, I say put him in the rankings. I'm gonna be honest. I'm of the opinion that if you're getting a shot inside of the top 15, let's just say for an example here. So let's just say Lerone Murphy. He's like ranked 16th, 17th on Tapology. Let's just say he gets a short notice fight with Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria is supposed to fight against Alexander Volkanovski on the pay-per-view. Volkanovski gets hurt. The UFC doesn't really want to do an interim belt, so they just put John Jones in the main event versus someone else, and they got Ilia Topuria there. All right, we'll do Ilia Topuria, Lerone Murphy. Lerone, you're a dog. Amazing. You took the fight on short notice. You're not even ranked. And let's just say Lerone Murphy loses a 29-28 decision. Loses only one, or actually wins a round on Ilia Topuria. I'm of the opinion you win a round on Ilia Topuria. You win a round on a guy like Manel Kape. You go to a decision with a guy like Manel Kape. Put him in the rankings. Put him in the rankings. I'm going to be honest. If he can do that with a guy like Manel Kape, I'd put him in the top 15. If Lerone Murphy can win a round against Ilia Topuria but still lose, you're going to keep him outside the rankings? No. That deserves to have you put like number 11, number 12. I'm being serious here. So it'll be a good fight for as long as it lasts. Felipe, I think this is a little bit too much too soon, but I do the same thing. I'm a flyweight just like you, Felipe. I would do the same thing. I'd probably get starched by Manel Kape. I don't give a fuck about it. We're going out there trying to make the dream come to reality. You know what I'm saying? Trying to knock him out in round 1. You know, I don't know what accent I'm trying to do, but Felipe, go out there, swing and bang, baby. Hope you land that mark on Manel's chin. Call out Haqparast in the post-fight interview. You win that, you're literally in line for a title fight. I kid you not. I kid you not. Do it, Felipe. Do it. But I got Manel by round 1, round 2. TKO. Tai Tuivasa and Alexander Volkov in the heavyweight division. Now, logic. Alexander Volkov, round 2, round 3, TKO. Logic. That's logic, man. He should easily go out there, front kick Tai Tuivasa at range to the body, leg kick him, jabbing him, 1-2ing him, hurt him on the feet, kind of pick him apart from the outside. Tai, just pressure forward, eat some shots coming in, maybe land a few. He might have his moments, but logically, you go Alexander Volkov, late TKO or unanimous decision. Sure, right? I mean, the only guys that beat Volkov recently were Ciryl Gane by a decision and Tom Aspinall by a submission. Well, Tai is not going to be able to do what Ciryl Gane did. He's not going to be able to do what Tom Aspinall did. He's not going to be able to do what Curtis Blaydes did. But what can he do? What can he do? He could do what Derek Lewis did. He very well could do what Derek Lewis did. I'm going to be honest. He could very well do it. All he needs to do is have Volkov be comfortable. One Volkov gets in the flow, starts landing leg kicks, front kicks, jabs and 1-2s, staying at range, bada bing, bada boom. Tai needs to play possum a little bit. He's good at it. Derek Lewis is the master at playing possum and then chucking an overhand, right? The main way I see Tuivasa winning is chopping at the legs of Alexander Volkov like they are a freaking tree, and if you don't chop down the tree, your mom's going to die. That's what Tai Tuivasa needs to do. I know that was a very stupid analogy. I don't give a schnikes. But that's what Tai Tuivasa needs to do. Chop the freaking legs of Volkov, make him not be able to move that much, and then get Alexander Volkov comfortable at range, land on the jabs and 1-2s, and then explode. Every now and then, explode. Left hook, right hook, uppercut, left, boom, 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 boom. And hopefully knock out Alexander Volkov. Could happen. But again, like I said at the beginning, logically, Volkov should win in the later rounds by a TKO or by a decision. I'm going to go more towards that decision there. I think Tuivasa is going to rock and even knock down Alexander Volkov in one of these rounds. I think the other 2 rounds, Volkov's just going to point fight him a little bit, jab him, 1-2 him, leg kick, front kick, all of that good stuff. And I think Alexander Volkov wins 2 of the rounds. And then one of the rounds, Tuivasa is going to get the freaking New Zealand, Sydney, Australia crowd riled up as he lands a big hook on Alexander Volkov, maybe in round 2, maybe in round number 3. And I think he would win that round and make it a very, very close one that the crowd is going to be like, no, that's a robbery. He knocked down Volkov in round 3. It's not how judging works. It's not on the entire fight. It's on a round-by-round basis, and I think round by round, Volkov will win 2. Tuivasa is going to dominate another with a knockdown. It's going to be a close one. I know a lot of people are probably just parlaying the under on this one. I'm not one of those people. Minus 325 on the under. I'm not one of those guys. I think it goes over. Alexander Volkov by a unanimous decision at plus 285. Israel, the lifestyle bender, Adesanya, taking on Sean. Racism, strict. I'm joking. But yeah, Izzy's a little bit older, a little bit taller, a little bit lengthier, a little bit faster, better boxing, better kickboxing, better Muay Thai, better jiu-jitsu. I don't know, maybe that now that he's training with Craig Jones, possibly. Better wrestling? Probably not. I mean, that's like the only area where I'd say Sean Strickland does have the advantage. But, Sean doesn't want to freaking use it. If you watch or if you follow my Instagram, you're going to see that Sean Strickland has already came out and said before the fight, he does not plan to wrestle. Like, why? Sean is not that gay to go out there and shoot a damn double leg. I landed, I think I counted 6. It was either, I know it was double digits, and it was almost 10, so it might have been 8. I think I landed 8 takedowns in my recent MMA fight. It's not gay, Strickland. Just do it. We saw you do it before. I don't know what I was getting at earlier, but we saw you do it against Jack Hermanson in a fight that, why the hell was that a split decision? I don't really know. But my gosh, just do what you did with Jack Hermanson. Land those takedowns, get the fight to the ground, and win it there. Now that being said, even if Sean goes out there with the game plan to wrestle, to grapple, to jiu-jitsu, to wrestle, to gay it out a little bit, as Sean will probably say, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Adesanya moves too much. It's going to be, I would kind of compare it to the Sergey Spivak versus Ciryl Gane fight. We're going to have a very elusive kickboxer Muay Thai guy in Adesanya like Ciryl Gane, who's just going to be too flowy for Sean Strickland, and Sean's just going to keep going, keep coming forward. It's not like Sean's going to be like, boom, 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 into a double leg. He's not throwing a combination into the double leg. He's just, 1, 2, hook, takedown. So I don't think that's going to work, and I think he's going to get countered and get knocked out. I don't want it to happen. I'm praying. MMA gods, I'm praying to you right now. Sean, find a way to get Strickland's back in round number 2. Submit him. I kid you not. If you do that, what am I going to do? I'll eat my microphone. If you submit Israel Adesanya, I'm going to eat my microphone, Sean Strickland. I swear to God. I swear to God, I'm going to eat my microphone if you beat Israel Adesanya. That's how confident I am in him not beating Israel Adesanya by submission specifically, because he's got a chance. He's got a chance. But it's a horrible, horrible matchup, man. A very, very slow moving, not a power punching striker, not one like Cannonier or Duplessis, who has the very good possibility of knocking out Adesanya on the feet. Not Alex Pereira, who can match him in the striking. Not Hamza, who can maybe have the advantage in the wrestling. Strickland, who doesn't really have the advantage anywhere except for wrestling, where he doesn't have that big of an advantage. Sorry, not sorry. Israel Adesanya, round number 2, TKO. That is the full card prediction for UFC 293, Adesanya versus Strickland. I do have Adesanya with a round 2 TKO. I got Alexander Volkov to win that fight by a decision. We're going to go through what the betting odds say. So I do have 6-1 favorite Adesanya winning by TKO in round number 2. The odds for it to be under round 2 is plus 210. So they're thinking this fight goes to a decision or goes very, very late in this fight. Adesanya just by TKO plus 115. Very, very interesting. I'm actually quite surprised at that, if we're being honest here. And the one that I was not too surprised about, Alexander Volkov minus 250 on the money line. I got him by a decision, which is currently at plus 285. I got Manel Kape by a round 2 TKO. Kape just straight up by TKO is at minus 125. Makes sense in my opinion. Justin Tafa, I got him by round 1 TKO. It makes a lot of sense. Minus 135 for the TKO. Minus 200 for the money line. We got underdog Tyson Pedro to win that fight, and he's at plus 103 on the money line, and I do have him by a decision, which is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Where the heck is it? Plus 450 for Tyson Pedro by a decision. We got Carlos Ulberg at minus 245 on the money line by TKO. The TKO odds are minus 140. Jack Jenkins by a close decision. His money line minus 195. His decision odds at plus 135. Jamie Malarkey's money line at minus 190. I got him by a decision as well, which is at plus 110. We got Nasrat Haqparast by a decision. His money line is crazy, minus 550. The decision plus 125. We got Mike Matheta by a decision. He's a huge underdog at plus 250 on the money line. Him by a decision is going to be madness at plus 500 on the betting odds. I got Shane Young by a decision. Obviously, a few of these ones are probably going to be finishes, but you know, we like our decision bet. Shane Young by a decision as well, plus 190. His money line is at minus 168. And the first fight of the night, I got Kevin Doucet by a decision. He's minus 130 on the money line. Decision odds at plus 350. I think that one's a little bit valuable, in my opinion. But those are the betting odds for all of those fights, and the fights I do have predicted in this fight card. Those are the predictions. Those are all that type of stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. Yeah, that's UFC 293, baby. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed it was.